Hi, thank you for coming. We are going to start a presentation today. The presentation is goats. So let's just jump right in. Welcome, welcome. These are just some basics that are good to cover. So just very simple observations that I've had in my miscellaneous studies. I've read a book on goats. I have volunteered at a local petting zoo, a local zoo that had a petting zoo, working with goats directly. So I've seen kind of how they interact. I think the shifts are about 2 hours a day. And so I have met some goats, and I am a goat lover. I do appreciate them. So this is super basic though. Just small little tidbits of information. So here it goes. There are many different breeds. Later on, we will see a few photos. There are dwarf goats that can be a little bit smaller in size, and then there are like regular sized goats that can be exceptionally large. There are many different breeds, though, across the world. And so I don't have a comprehensive list here, but there are a number of different species, breeds that are out there for biodiversity. So definitely looking into that is kind of cool to see the different types, the different ones that are out there. They are traditionally known as climbers. Those goat trails on those mountainsides, the cliffs that seem very, very dangerous, yet goats seem to manage to navigate them just fine. They are exceptional creatures in that. So they do kind of climb into those higher spheres, a number of them, the ones that are native to mountainous regions. So there are some that obviously that may be raised or reared not in the mountains, like in the circumstance of the petting zoo, but they like to jump, and this is the segue into the next slide. They can jump, so watch how you pen them if they are pets and slash or domesticated. They might escape. They like to climb onto things and stand on top of things, is what I've kind of seen, perhaps because of that mountain heritage. So it's good to keep them stimulated if you are raising them in a domestic area. Have things that they can climb on, that they can interact and engage with, like a real world environment. They're just best practices, but they can jump, so you do want to be conscientious of that. They can have very long hair. They can have shorter hair too, and it might have winter coats versus the summer coats. They can have large or small horns, of course, depending on their age, their maturity level, the breed, of course, too. That would vary depending. But they have these to protect themselves from predators. And they can also fight, in group fighting for reproductive rights and things like that, territory, just out of boredom, if they want to play, things like that. They can have the horns. And again, they can help them in the real world natural environment against the predators that might want to eat them. The goats can be nibblers. They may try anything and everything in their traditional grazing patterns, including clothes and important papers. If you have them in the near environment with the goats present, they can get into things. They can just start munching. They might not actually make progress in eating things like your clothes, but they might nibble, and so you might get soggy if you've got a friend, a close up friend, and don't catch them when they're nibbling. But it's cute. It's adorable. They also like plants and grazing, the free range type. They can assist that's the segue into the next one. They can assist with environmental initiatives, eating invasive species that can threaten or crowd out native species. They have been used in this regard. The only problem is you can't ensure that they are only eating the invasive species. They might just non-discriminately eat everything in that area. And so you'd want to be okay with that and expect that in their grazing patterns. You cannot guarantee, like they have been used specifically for the tree buckthorn. If there are smaller buckthorn, seedlings or saplings, they have been managing those numbers in the native environments that buckthorn is invasive in, and they've had decent results. And it's a change of pace, a change of environment for perhaps domestic goats, and it's a good way for them to experience new things and also help the planet in these environmental sustainability pursuits. Goats are ruminants, and they have multiple stomach chambers for digestion, meaning that they chew their own cud and are known to have bad breath because of this. Cud is the foodstuffs that go into the first chamber of the stomach, and then they kind of regurgitate it into their mouth, and they chew it around, mix it around with their teeth, and then they re-swallow it for the rest of the digestive process. And so they can have the bad breath because it is regurgitated, but they are built specifically for this, rumination process. They are supposed to do this, and so it is part of their animal identity. They eat plants such as hay, grass, and other ranging plants, such as the clovers, a lot of greens, like we talked about in the environmental sustainability. You can't necessarily control what they're nibbling on in any given environment. So being conscientious of that. They can be used as natural lawnmowers also. If you bring them out into fields, they can munch on weeds or grass. And then I've heard that having livestock do that can be beneficial because they'll also leave their droppings as a fertilizer, and so they can clear out the land while also replenishing nutrients in the land. So that is a factor. But they may also partake in like a manufactured feedstock as well, industry standard, if they are domesticated and if they don't have the opportunity to free range and things like that. So they are often raised as livestock for their hair, their meat, and their milk. Then the milk or cream can be used for cheeses as well as the milk. And the meat it's not as often used in like traditionally American cuisine, arguably, but you can find it in multicultural recipes quite a bit, and that's just a societal norm, and maybe that's just because they are not as common of a food source, perhaps because they are smaller, and things like that might go into that too. If they want to have like more meat to feed people, they might prefer raising cows or something bigger. Bison meat, I hear that's a thing. I don't eat meat, so that's not something that interests me. Their hair can be used for yarn, for nice sweaters. It's a commodity, and that depends on the breed also, but it can be used to create clothing, to create blankets and warmth, and so it's a natural fiber essentially. Goats have an established lore and are featured in multicultural folk tales from around the world. And I'm not going to go into many of those, but you can see them in multicultural festivals, celebrating like, different seasons, or like you can kind of see them, billy goats gruff as well, so you can see them around and depicted in multicultural lore. Here are a few photos. These photos were taken from the Lake Superior Zoo, Duluth, Minnesota, a few years back now. I believe this one is a Nigerian dwarf goat. And I apologize, I don't know the species of this other one. I think this one is also a Nigerian dwarf goat. But this was the one that I became acquainted with, who was a nibbler. So sweet, though. Very sneaky, able to kind of try and sneak out and just leave their pen, their area. But they have the little barrels for climbing onto. They've got little pedestals in the back that they can climb onto. So stimulating paraphernalia in their immediate environs. The hay there to munch on. You see some coming out of the goat's mouth in this middle photo. So just kind of a few photos of goats. Are there any questions?